Hey YouTube, Modkip here. Another seasonal weapon to showcase, and since I did Prodigal Return last time, I thought why not do the Regnant this time? I put out a build video previously, but I put everything I had to say in the description, and no one really reads those. So I figured that something a bit more in-depth was necessary. Much like the Prodigal Return video, I will try to compare this with other adaptive frame grenade launchers, and find out how worth the grind the Regnant really is. The Regnant is an interesting weapon. It is currently the only craftable adaptive frame in the game. Now one would think that's that, end of story. But there's a handful of grenade launchers currently easily accessible this season, one of which is the Wendigo GL3. While the Wendigo gets an adept version, meaning it can take advantage of adept mods, the Regnant makes up for it with some fun perk selections in the third slot like Repulsor Brace, Envious Assassin, and the classic auto-loading holster, and in the fourth slot, Destabilizing Rounds, Explosive Light, Unrelenting, and Cascade Point. So it isn't out of the running just yet. Let's take a closer look at those perks though. Most would just keep to the classic combo, Explosive Light, auto-loading, but I ask you to expand your horizons a little bit, as there are two perk combos that are absolutely worth the investment. The first I'll go over is of course the Repulsor Brace Destabilizing Rounds that I tried to showcase in my last video on the Regnant. The great thing about this perk combo is that unlike other weapons that have one or the other, this having both means you can proc Repulsor without running a Void subclass or a Void weapon with Destabilizing Rounds. You could run this on Solar or Arc and have an Overshield on demand. It'll cost you 2 nades, but a 45 HP Overshield that lasts 8 seconds and enhanced increases that to 10. Survivability shoots through the roof. See what I'm getting at? Ease of use, survivability, allowance of choice of both subclass and energy weapon, and it's a legendary, so you can rock whatever exotic you want outside of heavy. This perk combo alone makes this an amazing weapon for harder content, but that is just one of the 2 perk combos I'd like you to give consideration. For this combo, I'd run Volatile Rounds, High Explosive Ordnance, Repulsor Brace, and Destabilizing Rounds with a Blast Radius Masterwork, so you lower your chances of not getting the Repulsor Brace proc because an enemy just was a little too far away. The second is relatively unknown territory, as one of these perks is brand new this season and has been kind of hit or miss for me, but this perk combo is making me a believer. Envious Assassin and Cascade Point. At first glance, it's an unassuming pair, nothing to write home about, but this perk combo allows for 2 very different playstyles. Before I go over that though, I should probably explain the perks a little. Envious Assassin grants 150% overflow to any weapon it's on. When it's on the Prodigal Return, it grants 1 extra nade, but on the Regnant, with just Augmented Drum to give you 7 in the chamber, you can get all 16 base reserves into the mag. I did a bit of testing on what was the limit of the mag. When you run Augmented and Backup mag with 3 Void Reserve mods, you get 8 in the mag and 18 total ammo. The math says you should get 20 in the mag on Max Envious, but you can only get 18 total rounds, so 20 becomes impossible. When I run Augmented without Backup and 3 Reserve mods, you get 7 in the mag and 19 total ammo. Math this time around says 17.5 is the max, but it seems to round up to 18, leaving you 1 in reserves. It would seem that no matter what you try, 18 is the max, meaning 2 Void Reserves is the sweet spot. Now let's talk Cascade Point. This perk says that final blows or sustained precision hits with another weapon increase this weapon's rate of fire. This isn't to be confused as a reverse adagio, as it doesn't affect damage directly. It of course does affect DPS, as the increased fire rate lasts for 2.75 seconds. Enhanced bumps this up to 3. Now 3 or so seconds doesn't seem like a lot, but that's enough to drop 7 or 8 rounds on the Regnant before Cascade Point goes away. Imagine dropping half your total ammo in 3 seconds. If that wasn't enough, Cascade Point can be re-procced by swapping to another weapon, getting another kill, and if you're in front of a boss, just hit a handful of precision shots, and you get right back to emptying the mag. So I mentioned 2 playstyles earlier, a Crowd Clear Tandem Monster and a Boss Melter. The first, the Crowd Clear Tandem Monster, is great with a workhorse weapon, like auto rifles or SMGs, and all you have to do is get kills with another weapon. This maxes out Envious, The kills also activate Cascade Point, then you swap to the Regnant to clean up majors and minors like it's nothing. Rinse and repeat. Now, for this setup, I'd go Volatile Launch, Augmented Drum or High Explosive Ordnance, Envious Assassin, and the Cascade Point, with a Blast Radius Masterwork. Essentially, increase the blast radius to increase ad clear potential. The other playstyle is pretty unorthodox, a Boss Melter. In order to get this running, just get kills prior to the boss to max Envious, then at the boss, get precision hits with another weapon to activate Cascade Point. Then swap to Regnant and fire for the duration of Cascade Point, hit some more precisions with another weapon, rinse and repeat until empty. This sounds like a waste of time, but hear me out. Shotguns proc Cascade Point on Regnant in 2 precision hits. It's practically asking to be run with double slugs. As the duration of Cascade is about a second longer than auto-loading holster, this means non-stop damage until you're completely empty. Now, for this build, setup, if you will, I'd run Hard Launch, Spike Nades, Envious, and Cascade with a Velocity Masterwork as to decrease blast radius and increase velocity, so the nades hit faster and the chance of you blowing up mid-damage phase goes way down. Now the real question is, where does the Regnant fit in the adaptive frame family of grenade launchers? And I'd say for my own testing, probably right below or equal to the Wendigo adaptive. At the very least, it has no competition other than the Wendigo. The Typhon GL3 has no good third slot perks. The Blast Batu and the Memory Interdict can both get Clown Cartridge and Chain Reaction, but since the Blast Batu is a Season 12 weapon, it only rarely shows up in Zer's shop, and Memory Interdict is a world drop, just like the Typhon GL, that may or may not show up at Banshee, so good luck farming that out. I'm not even going to match it against the Dimensional Hypotrochoid, as despite it being a craftable 120, it's a wave frame, and that alone shoots it to the top of the charts for crowd clear. Now for the last question. Is it worth the grind? After testing it and playing with it, I'd say absolutely. Craft it, level it up, play with the perk selection that you find the most enjoyable to use, and absolutely slot it in. I personally went with the Boss Melter build as it just seems so free for DPS. With that said, if you watched to the end, consider leaving a like if any of this was helpful, comment if you've got anything to add, and subscribe for more of the showcase content. I'll try to run through all of the Season of Defiance craftable weapons. I want to do the Perpetualis next, as it stands out as the only craftable kinetic slot adaptive auto rifle. And as always, thanks for watching.